Hey everybody, welcome back to Born Again to Live. It's Amy, it's Eric. It is a thirsty Thursday here. It's like 100 degrees outside. Not only are we thirsty for an ice cold lemonade, but we are thirsty for God's word. Are we not, Eric?
Yes, we are. First off, sorry, yesterday was a blank day. My mind is blank, evidently. I forgot to do what I was going to do yesterday, so it's all good.
Well, I take responsibility, Eric. As you know, I just got off of my crazy week of camp, and I've been processing a lot, you guys, and I didn't have it in me. Like, Eric reached out and said, are we podcasting today? And I'm like, I can't. So it's my fault. I apologize.
No, I was gonna put a rerun up, and I guess life happens.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So we'll take 50-50 blame.
It is what it is.
All right.
We'll give the devil credit. He wins. That day was his.
It's going to be fine. But no, we're going to make up for lost time a little bit.
We're going to do it today and tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah.
Go from there.
Okay. Well, it's a Thursday, and we've got a tradition going on this summer.
That's right. We do the parables. And I'll just go into a little bit of this, that we had Dr. Lynn Howells at our church on Sunday. And I told Amy that when we did our parable day on the treasure, or the lost treasure episode of the Great Pearl, or whatever it was.
That was like back in April, by the way.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But when we did it, we didn't do it justice. If you look at it, like Doc Lynn broke that down at our church this week, and I was just sitting there mind blown. But what I want to touch out of that is the valuable pearl in Matthew 13. Anyways, it talks about a man found a pearl or a treasure and then hid it and then bought the whole field. And what Doc Lynn showed me and opened my eyes to was that was Jesus. And it was talking about how Jesus came to the world, and we are the treasure. The saved are the treasure. But when he finds us, he didn't just come for the treasure. He could have took the treasure out and took them somewhere else. Like I always talk about, when you're saved, you can be whisked away to heaven. You wouldn't have to suffer. Wouldn't have to do anything. But no, he bought the whole field, which means Jesus paid for everybody, including the ones that don't believe in him. And I say it all the time, like, if you don't believe in God, he still loves you.
Yes.
And that's what Doc Lynn showed me. That parable says that he bought the whole field. And Jesus paid for everybody. He didn't just pay for a select few, he knows who's going to accept him, basically, I think, at this point in life. I mean, it's free will, but still, like, he has a pretty good idea of who the treasure is, but he'll buy the whole field anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. Like, when he said that, I literally sat there for 40 minutes going, oh, wow. Yeah, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's an amazing picture of, it is what he came to do. He didn't just come for the righteous. He came for everybody.
Yeah.
And I was joking with Eric that we have to now do a retraction to that. So we'll do half of our year podcasting and half of the year retracting because we messed up something.
Yeah,
but
it's all right.
That's why it's such a great audience. We're flawed, Eric, and people love that we can just mess up.
Maybe our audience are people who are smarter than us, and they're just like, yeah, they're wrong. I love being right, so that's why I'm going to listen to this podcast.
Well, speaking of being right and or wrong, did you ever broadcast the results of the Bible bingo?
No, I don't think we did.
You talked about it at camp and how all that went.
I don't think we did. I don't think we actually talked about that, but that was, that was a while back, the 19th.
Mm-hmm.
We did that on the 19th. The Cup of Grace, I'm going to plug them. The Cup of Grace in Moorfield.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bitty shop. It's beautiful patio they got, good food, and there's also a Christian bookstore type place in the back of that's ran separately.
Nice.
And one of the congregation members from Josh Pickett's church runs the cafe, the Cup of Grace. And they had Bible trivia night, of course, and our big blue team of me, Susan, and Steve Shook were there.
Yeah.
They did, the first part of it was they did 40 questions, and the top two teams out of that 40 question thing to get the most points went on to a speed round where they asked 5 questions, and then the winner was crowned.
Mm-hmm.
Our big blue crew won the first part. Like,
nice.
we rocked it. Like, we had some good answers. Steve answered one. I'm proud of him. Actually, his question blew my mind because nobody there knew it. It was, what ancient river flowed through the Garden of Eden?
Oh, right. Yeah.
It was the Euphrates.
Yeah.
And Steve got it like nothing. And everybody else is going, wait, how'd he know that? Like, it blew everybody's mind that Steve got that one. But anyway, so we finished top 2 and we went on to face this other one, which is actually a pastor and his wife. And it was tied 2-2. The last question was, who is the only female prophet or judge mentioned in Judges? And we answered a second too slow.
Okay. It was Deborah.
It was Deborah.
Deborah, right. Okay, yeah.
Susan got it right, but she was just a tick slow. And so the other team won by that.
Yeah.
It was a fun time. We had a great time.
They need to do that again. I love a good trivia night. So
it was really good. Learned some stuff like how many books of the Bible have one chapter only.
Right.
And it was like, man, you're sitting there going, well, this is an easy one. And then you start thinking about it and you're like, I don't really know.
Yeah.
And it ended up being 5 and nobody got it right in the entire group. But it was one of those like, afterwards, I'm going to look them up because I'm curious.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Oh, but yeah, we did good and it was fun time. So
I love it. Well, and Eric, this podcast has grown my biblical knowledge like crazy because, every couple of weeks we're here just digging deep into God's word. We're talking about one phrase for an entire 30 minutes sometimes. So I am grateful for this podcast and just growing me in that way. So, all right, are we ready?
I think in something like that too, you can grow even if it's for fun. Like I think Kipton learns. So Jan, Steve's wife, and Kipton were our fan club.
Okay.
And I think that he learned something out of listening to all that.
Yeah.
I gained some knowledge out of it without even thinking I was going to. It was one of those. And then, like I said, it was fun, and we almost won.
Almost won. Well,
almost.
You know what? If you have Jesus, Eric, you guys already won.
That's right. That's right.
The parable of the winning team. That's what I'm going to call it.
One of my friends was on the other team. I've known her since forever, literally forever. And as soon as I was walking into the Cup of Grace, she goes, "You're not playing, are you?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "No fair. Because if I couldn't find another member, I was calling you."
Oh, that's funny. I would love for all of us on the core team to show up with a random friend and play against each other.
That would be fun.
That would be really fun.
No, see, it's not fair. We had our dream team. Chris Montgomery would have been there.
Oh, for sure.
Chris is really talented.
Yes, he is. But you can always distract him with a plate of nachos or something momentarily, and then he'll be like, "Ooh, sister, can I order those?" And just as the big question's being asked, that's going to be my because it's not cheating. It's just it's manipulation. It's different. It's not cheating. All right, well, let's dive into this parable of the Good Samaritan. And I know that's one that a lot of us feel like we know, but how well do we, really know it sometimes until we start breaking it down. I'm going to go all the way back to my little subheading. I think you've got starting in 30. I'm going to go back to 25.
Oh, yeah.
It says, and I'm reading from the NIV, per usual. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. "Teacher," he asked, "what must I do to inherit eternal life?" "What is written in the law?" he replied. "How do you read it?" This is Jesus' words were in red. The man answered, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself." Jesus says, "You have answered correctly. Do this and you will live." That's I kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
It boils it all down to something very succinct. Do this and you will live. Okay, but he wanted to justify himself. So he asked Jesus, "And who is my neighbor?" Right? Love your neighbor as yourself.
Yeah.
So who is my neighbor? In reply, Jesus said, "A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he was attacked by robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring oil on and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, brought him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 denarii and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? The expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise.
See, this is why I really think me and Jesus would get along so well in like conversation, just because he seems to have that sarcastic.
Right, I know.
Because you start off and it says, mine says a lawyer,
Okay.
a certain lawyer, but it would have been a scribe of the Pharisees,
Right.
Or, and they knew the law better than anybody.
Yeah.
Because that was their job. Like,
Yeah.
that was all they did, was basically look at the law and see what was people were doing wrong.
Which is why Jesus asked him, like, that was his way of saying, you know what's there. You tell me what it says, right? Like, it's written more eloquently, but you tell me, bro.
Yeah, it's like, what do you think? Come on, tell me. Like, tell me what you write every day. Tell me what you see every day. And then and I don't know, the way the guy kind of just goes about it, and he's like, do that and you'll live, quoting the Ezekiel line where it's a promise from God that do this and live.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's where Jesus really gets me, though, is sarcasm, kind of, because even at the end, it's like he let the guy back himself into a corner, and then Jesus tells him this really cool story, and he's like, all right, go do it.
Yeah.
What are you waiting on me to tell you? Just go do it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my take on Jesus on this story, is just it's like it's a sarcastic reply to this guy. But I know there's a meaning behind it. So when you look at the story itself, and it talks about going from Jerusalem to Jericho, and that's I forget how long the road is, but it's a really long road. It's 2,000 or 3,000 feet, 17 miles.
Woo!
Stretch of road that was notorious for being dangerous, like really dangerous. So, again, the people who are hearing this story know what he's talking about.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, that happens all the time, and they may have even walked that road and saw what happened.
Yeah,
So,
that's very true.
So then Jesus goes into what happens to the guy, and like I said, that's commonplace on this road. He was beaten, stripped, and everything was taken from him,
Mm-hmm.
left for dead, basically. And it talks about the first person, I find it funny, the first person that comes along is a priest,
Right.
And these are supposed to be the people who do everything, but it's against the law for them to touch him if he's bleeding.
Yeah. Or dead.
Or dead or naked.
Right.
He's not allowed to touch him. And so they just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
They crossed, didn't they say? They
crossed by on the other side.
Crossed by on the other side so they wouldn't get close enough to touch the guy.
Yeah.
And as the scribe is listening and the people around him are listening to the story, they're probably like, well, that's what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't touch him. You can't. You're unclean. And so they're rationalizing. You can just see the whole group going, yeah, he's right. He's right. The priest is right. And then he goes, well, this Levite, the Levites, there's a whole book in Leviticus that talks about the Levitical code, what the Levites are supposed to do and how they're supposed to interact. And of course, it's against the law for them to touch this man. And so they do the same. They cross on the other side and pass by without helping.
Yeah.
And then he comes to the person that the Jews hate, the Samaritans. Like, they're their most hated rivals. There's nothing good in there, basically, they think.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy comes up and does exactly what you're supposed to do to a neighbor, to a person who's supposed to, or in need, you help them. And it's the Samaritan that Jesus puts in that situation, which is just funny to me, that's where his sarcasm's funny, because they all got to be sitting there going, seriously, he had to pick them. Like, tell me the story. He picks them. He can't pick up, somebody from another tribe or something. It's had to be the Samaritan.
You're going to pick the enemy to be the hero in this story. Really, Jesus? Thanks a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
And so he does what he's supposed to do, which is care for the guy. And then not only that, he loads him on his animal, takes him to the inn, takes care of him, feeds him, leaves money for the innkeeper, and says, I'll check on him when I come back.
Yeah.
So he goes above and beyond what actually was needed. And then Jesus is like, so who showed mercy?
Yeah.
And that, to me, I don't know. That's just Jesus's. That's the character I love to see revealed in you.
Absolutely. Yes. And I gotta wonder myself, like when he asks, like, who is my neighbor? Like, it said he wanted to justify himself. So he asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? So is he trying to justify what he's already done for who he thinks is his neighbor, right? Well, I did this for my actual neighbor. I did this for my like mother-in-law. I did this for the guy that herds goat, like, so he's thinking in his head, like, I've already done all these great things for who I deem to be my neighbor. And again, obviously meaning fellow Israelites, fellow Jews. And then when Jesus kind of pulls the Samaritan into the mix, it's like, oh crap. Like, you mean those guys too? That those are also my neighbors?
I think when he asked the question, actually, he might have been just talking about himself
Yeah,
and the Pharisees, because they were the only ones considered righteous or holy.
that's true.
So he probably was like, well, if I'm going to have my neighbors, it's going to be the only people who are righteous. So he's probably just trying to put himself above everybody else. Kind of like that, we did the parable that Seth Addison loved the one from, where it was, God help me not be like all these sinners and stuff. And or thank you for not making me like these sinners and these tax collectors. And then the tax collector's like, just God have mercy on me, a sinner. So the guy, he's putting himself up there kind of like that guy did, like, oh, well, who's my neighbors? Thinking Jesus is going to be like, well, it's the only ones who are righteous in this group. But Jesus goes one beyond.
I mean, like, because like there's so many things going on here. Number one, we don't know that much about the man, right? But the way it says, like, he was stripped him of his clothes, beat him one away. He could have been a very noble man, a very noble character. Those clothes could have said a lot about his ranking and his status. But once you are just stripped of all of that and beaten up and half down the road, you're no good. You're no better than anybody, right? Like, you're just kind of on par with a beggar. You woke up that morning like a nobleman, and by dinner time, you're just a piece of nothing, of garbage that certain people are not willing to even pass by. And because, like, to me, the loving thing would have been, hey, buddy, are you okay? Are you all right? Can I get you something? Like, oh my gosh, you're beaten. Here's a bandage. Here's some water. But like, as you said, Eric, like, this Samaritan went above and beyond. Like, I'm going to take you somewhere where it's safe. I'm going to, take care of you in this inn. And then not only that, but I'm going to pay somebody to let you stay at this inn and take care of you. Like, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that's the way Jesus wants us to love. And I'm sure this teacher of the law, that was way not what he was expecting him to say, right?
Well, and I was reading a little bit of the notes here in mine, and it says that Samaritans wouldn't have normally been on that road. They wouldn't have normally traveled because they were in a foreign country that hated them.
Yeah.
And not only did they risk the same thing that happened to that guy, getting beaten or robbed, and hostility from every traveler on that road. So for this guy to be on that road and probably receiving the same kind of treatment that guy was, and yet still step up and be like, hey, let me help this guy who's not probably going to he'll probably show hostility towards me too when he's well. Or however that would work. But I thought that was a neat little note that they wouldn't have normally been on that road.
That is interesting. I know when I was taking my financial peace class, I think we talked a lot about the Samaritan and how he had financial means, like, and I think when, money is not, I know the love of money is talked about in the Bible as being a really bad thing, but money itself, it can do awesome things and it could do awful, the love of money, greed, it can do horrible, hateful things. But money in and of itself is just super objective, But here, this also displays the Samaritan, like, he had the ways and the means to take care of people, and he had no problem parting with his money to care for someone because that person is valuable to God, valuable to Jesus, valuable to that Samaritan. Like, they should be valuable to us. People are not disposable, no matter how they look laying on that gutter half dead. Like, we should we should just never discount them because of that. But, in my financial class, they were saying, this is one of the reasons why we should have we should work hard. We should have wealth so that we can take care of people when they need to be taken care of. And there are noble causes to have the money that we do have. So I love that.
And I was going to say, like, now moving this into our modern lives and what it means for us, I don't think you're not just looking for that person that's beat down and laying in a side ditch. You're looking for the people who have those, you see them and they have the eyes that are beat down eyes. And those people in life, like, you'll see them and you'll know them. Don't be afraid to help. Don't be afraid to give, because God's going to fill that void. Whatever, and I've said it before, like, you can't outgive God.
No.
So in the Samaritan's place here, like, you got to think that God's going, I got your back.
Yeah. Well, I know I shared this with you, Eric, not too long ago, because I was so excited about it, but I was driving somewhere for work. Might have been, I don't know. Anyway, I stopped at one of those Virginia Welcome Centers to use the bathroom, and I parked, and as I'm walking in, and, make no mistake, I had to go. I had to go. So I'm kind of rushing in, and I passed this man who's there in a wheelchair, and I think he had a veteran's hat on, but he had a cup. He was begging. And I'm just like, oh, I hate to see that, especially coming up on this big, holiday, realizing people like him gave everything for what we're celebrating. And, and then there's always those people that maybe isn't the case and they're exploiting that. But like, that's not for me to know the truth. It's only between me and God. So anyway, as I'm in the restroom and everything, I felt God be like, you're going to go pray with that man. And Eric, I heard that little podcast that we did with James, or you talked about how James would quote Paul and say, money I don't have, but I have something better. I have Jesus, right? And I remember that was just ringing in my ear as I'm in the ladies' room, and I came out and I'm just like, well, this might feel crazy, but I just took a deep breath and I'm like, here we go. Because I felt that conviction, and I just walked up to the man, and I think a woman had just come up to him and put some money in his cup. And I walked up to him and I put my arm on his shoulder, and I said, hey, I don't have any cash I can give you. I said, but can I pray with you? And the man was like, oh, yes, absolutely. Like, he was super excited about this. And so I did. I just closed my eyes and I just started praying. Eric, I have no idea what people saw, what they thought, what they felt in that. But I just, wow, I don't know. I was like one of the happiest moments of my day, as sad as, like, in the sadness of this person being under that kind of difficulty. It brought me so much joy to just be praying for this guy. And his name was James, by the way, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, that is how God calls us to love people, like the downtrodden, the people that don't even seem approachable. But I love that I got to look him in the eye, ask him his name, touch him, make him feel like he is as valuable to God as the rest of us.
I was going to say that. I mean, to me, that's worth way more than money, is that you saw him.
Yeah.
Like, I think about those people who hold that cup, and how many of them drop it in the cup and never look at the person, never see the person, never see who they're giving to.
Yeah.
If you don't have any money and you stop and you pray with them, you're obviously going to see them. You're obviously going to be wanting to know. You're going to ask their name. You're going to talk to them a little bit. You're going to do these things. They might need that way more than they need cash.
Yeah, it was awesome. Eric, I kind of decided I was never not going to do that. I'm like, I purposely don't want to carry cash around just so I can say that. I want that opportunity to pray with these people, because you never know, and that's the only prayer they're going to get.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. Oh, I think we did pretty good on this one. Any last thoughts on the Good Samaritan, or are we good with that one?
I mean, yeah, I think the Good Samaritan, really is just summed up by saying, like, God calls you to love not just your actual neighbors, your circle of influence, your friends. God calls you to love the unlovable. And that is really showing the love of God.
Yeah, if the Samaritan man can love a Jew, I mean, come on, they were pretty good rivals, and I don't have anybody that I hate that much in this world. So
that's it.
I should be able to love everybody. So,
yep.
Love your neighbors, guys.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.